doing, good people? This is Dave Bit Animal. Okay, so today's game is the third installment in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise. It was actually the third of four Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle titles released on the NES, and it's the second rarest of those four titles. It plays off of the strengths of the second title and expands on them. And while it isn't as polished as the fourth title, the first title released on the Super NES, which was Turtles in Time, this one is pretty good. Today's game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. Okay, so this title starts off with the Turtles on vacation in Florida. And in similar fashion with the other games in the series, with some of the other titles in the series, Shredder lets the Turtles know his plan or attempts to lure them out by kidnapping April O'Neil. But this time he also steals the entire island of Manhattan. It's a pretty interesting little storyline. It sounds like something that would have happened in an episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this is way above and beyond, because Shredder's actually looking like he's going to win in this game, at the beginning of this game. So the Turtles have to go back to New York from Florida. And why they don't just reverse route and just fly back or drive back or whatever it was that they did to get to Florida in the first place is beyond me. Because now you have to fight your way back from Florida to New York. And you get to pick between the four Turtles: Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. And each turtle, because of their different weapons, has different ranges on their attacks, things like that, attack speed, stuff like that. Another interesting thing about this game that's different from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, is that this one, each turtle has a specific special move, something that they do that the other turtles can't. And that kind of adds some personality, because it seemed like the only difference between the Turtles on the last title was the color of their bandanas and knee pads and their weapons. There was no major difference outside of that. This actually gives them a little bit more personality. It's a standard beat 'em up, like I said. Unfortunately, you can't play 4 players on this game. It doesn't support the satellite or the Fourscore, which was weird because they came out a few years before. But I think by this point, Nintendo had kind of stopped selling it, because this was actually towards the end of like those last few years after the release of the Super NES, where the NES was starting to wind down. Graphically, it's a bright, colorful game full of color, just like the Ninja Turtle cartoon series. Controls are tight in typical Konami fashion. It's just an all-around quality beat 'em up, and you can't really go wrong with that. All of your favorite villains from the Ninja Turtle series are here. This is fan service, much like every other Ninja Turtles video game has been up to where we are now, with the impending release of this new Ninja Turtles game that's going to be released over Xbox Live and I think PlayStation Network. Manhattan Project is not an easy game to find out in the wild. It's a relatively rare title because of its release date, which was back in like 92, which, like I said, was towards the end of the NES life cycle. But it's not as rare or hard to find as the next title that was released, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. Now, that was released over a bunch of different consoles, but the NES version is arguably the rarest version because it was a fighting game on the NES nobody bought. So there's that. This has been 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.